Hey guys, Larry C here. So yesterday my kids grabbed a pair of scissors and took one of my really old joke books and was like cutting it. And I was like, why are you guys doing that? And they were like, well, Dad, you told us to cut the comedy. Chat, am I cooked? Shout out to y'all. Hope you enjoy the video.
Come on now, dog. Come on, man.
Hey guys, Larry C here. In this video, I want to show you how you can cut back on some time if your syllabus is extremely long, like mine is, where I teach at. No joke, they average around like 13 to 15 pages, and even with a 2-hour time block on a day, that could really soak up some time. So I'll show you my fix to it that I've been using in recent semesters that I hope you like. And of course, as always, hit the like button, subscribe, let me know if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, or want any of this down in the comments. All right, so without further ado, we'll go ahead and dive into it. Move this out the way if I can. It's being funky with me lately. There we go. Okay, I'm going to try to shrink this down. Don't want to cover up Guy Fieri. Okay, so long story short is, the syllabus, in my opinion, is too long, but it kind of needs to be because in our syllabus, it's, an agreement between the college, myself, and my students about the course policies, but also policies at the college, some information about getting some assistance from the tutoring center, generic information about the college, what to do in the case of an emergency, expectations of the student, expectations of the professor. There's a little bit of talk about the competencies for the course, and also all the stuff that's related to my class in particular. So the grading rationale, policies on calculators, schedules. There's just a whole lot of information, and quite honestly, you can really pare it down to buy yourself some time because, as we like to joke around in the community college teaching arena, you're already behind on the first day of class. And that's because they ask us to teach a lot of content. And so time is at a premium. Okay. So here's what I do. I'm going to go ahead and take you through a PowerPoint that I made. I'm kind of old school. I do PowerPoint. I know Google Slides is out there and Canva, Prezi and all that. But this is the software I know best. So I'm just going to kind of play to my advantages. And I'll be presenting this on the first day of class, along with doing some other stuff. So your very first slide, of course, you want to make it stand out. The course I'll be teaching is Elementary Statistics. That is course number Math 122. Here's our section number, the days and times that we meet, the room that we meet in, and of course, yours truly, Mr. C. And the reason why I chose this design is because I'm a really huge fan of rock and roll, as you'll see. And these pictures did not come with the original template for this PowerPoint, but I threw them in there anyway because I'm a huge fan of corgis, stringed instruments. I know this is a bass, but I play, 6-string electric guitar. Shout out to Jay Tarantino, the guitar boss. And I also like Guy Fieri. So that's what I'm going to lead off with. And my next slide contains my contact information, and you can probably tell that this right here is an AI generated picture. I'm hoping the students resonate with it because currently I hear that students and basically people in general are starting to dislike AI, and I think it's because of the data centers, which that's a whole nother conversation. But anyway, here I get to talk about my 3 corgis for a split second. There's my full name. Most students just call me Mr. C. Behind this yellow block is some information that I just wanted to keep out of this video just for security reasons, but it's basically my work email address and my work telephone number. But also in this block of information are my office hours, which they'll know it's going to be Monday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 12:15 p.m. And of course, you want to let them know what room you're in, and maybe, as a sidebar conversation, explain to them the process for gaining access to you during your office hours, and also let them know that you understand that these times might not work for everybody that's in your classroom. So just encourage them to reach out to you and ask them to throw out some days and times that work best for them, and then just let them know that you'll work with them to come up with a day and time that works best for both of you. And also, I think it's a good idea that you're flexible enough to also maybe perhaps meet virtually through Zoom or some other sort of virtual software that they use. And I put this in here because I really like this GIF. I like to joke that this is representative of my animals at the house, just waiting for me to come home so I can play with them. So one thing that I like to do, because I'm kind of random, is I'll ask them, okay, let's go ahead and hit the pause button and see like the still frame. Oops, kind of mess up like that. I'll play that, and that's the face we stop on. So maybe I can play a game. I know this is going to be wasting some time, but if you have it, play a game to where see if you can stop it to where both paws are off or something. I'm just kidding about all that. All right, next slide. I like to explain the course that they're signed up in, but not all the details. And what I'm deciding to roll out with this semester is this picture. You'll see I like to use a lot of visuals. What is statistics? And this is something I've been thinking about for the past few days. I was inspired by a birthday party that I went to where my friend was grilling on his Blackstone or whatever, and he wanted to test, the temperature of the chicken he was cooking. And so, he used his thermometer and plugged it into the meat paws, and it was at the right temperature. And he took all the chicken off because he, said, well, if that piece is cooked, then the rest are. And I kind of thought about this analogy where it's kind of similar to when cooking spaghetti noodles. How do you tell when a spaghetti noodle is done? Well, I'm sure there are some very formal ways of doing it. But if you grew up like I did in the hood, what we would do is when it's getting close to time and they're a little translucent, we just, take a ladle of noodles out, wait for it to cool down a little bit, grab 1, 2, or 3, onesie, twosie, here or there ski, eat it, and if they're the texture that you want them to be, then you're all done, okay? You can pour the water and noodles into the colander and, be on your merry way to serving, the rest of dinner that they're paired up with. Long story short is this is kind of representative of statistics, and specifically inferential statistics. It's not possible to, sample every single noodle in the pot. Okay, you can, but why would you? If you take a couple samples and you find that they're all cooked, then, there's a good chance that all the noodles are cooked. But you can't be 100% sure. And that's kind of the story about statistics is that, a lot of times we're interested in knowing what everybody in the U.S. Feels about a certain topic, okay? Can you sample every single person in the U.S.? No. Well, maybe, but it's going to cost a lot of time and money. So can you do it in a way that gives us enough confidence to make conclusions about, the general public in the United States? So, that's kind of what statistic does is we take a small sample of things and try to infer qualities about the entire population based on that little sample, okay? So taking a couple of noodles here, seeing that they're cooked, maybe we can infer that all the noodles are cooked in the pot, all right? So that's kind of the idea there. If you think of something better, let me know. So then I have a slide where I'm going to be showing them the course materials that they'll need. And I'm a big fan of the blank starter pack. And so one year I said, okay, well, maybe, we could adapt this to the classroom. So I've been using a starter pack, so to speak. And just 4 quadrants here. They're going to need the textbook for the course, which I'll let them know that they can purchase it electronically or purchase a physical copy of the textbook. And they're going to ask, do I really need to bring this to class? The answer is no. They might even ask, should I even buy it? And I would say, well, I think it's a good idea too, because I'll be using some resources out of it. And also too, there's some supplementary exercises, some videos. So it'd be a good idea to have all that, all those tools in the toolbox to get the most out of this class. I'm also going to talk about the homework platform I'll be using, My Open Math. They'll have to sign up for this separately, but it is free, so it's an open courseware. So that gives them a little bit of savings. I also let them know that they have to purchase a TI-84 graphing calculator. TI-83 graphing calculator is okay. What they're not allowed to purchase or use on exams are any calculators with the CAS or computer algebra system. So there's that. If they have a graphing calculator that is a different brand and model, then I just ask that, one day after class or before class, they come show it to me so I can let them know whether or not that's legal in the class, okay? And then this last icon here is the Blackboard phone app icon. So I usually take a moment to talk about how heavily I use Blackboard to do a lot of communications and have a repository of the course supplies there, and it's also where their grades are housed and where I take attendance and where videos will be. So I usually take them through a tour of that after the PowerPoint and attendance and everything else. So might be a good idea just to include a slide on the materials that they'll need. And I also feel it's very important to let them know how their grade is made up in the course. All right, so I have a grading rationale, and I have a pie graph here, which my wife helped me create, or edit at least, but this kind of shows them the proportion of points that the different types of assessments contribute toward their overall grade. So I'll go ahead and show you what their grade is comprised of. So it's the online homework, My Open Math problem sets. It counts 100 points toward their final grade, which is 12.5% of the course grade. They're completed in My Open Math, so I'll take them through a dry run of that. I'll let them know that it's assigned by chapter, okay? And there are going to be 9 total collections throughout the semester, and all dates will be announced in advance in Blackboard. But if you do the math, 9 times 12.5 is actually 112.5, and so the math might not be mathin', but this is my opportunity to let them know that they can earn some extra credit points. So it's kind of like one of these is a freebie should they choose to maximize the number of points in each problem set. So the long story short, there's some built-in extra credit already. So I really encourage them to complete all of these, and also at 100%, because in the platform they can retry a problem over and over to get full credit. So that's a portion of their grade, 12.5% of their course grade. I'm also going to be doing some data days where it's kind of like hands-on sessions of sections of our I gotta practice this. These are going to be days throughout the semester where they get to practice doing some data exploration with me by their side and also in groups. So it gives me an opportunity to check on how they're doing with the material, and also just create some engagement between them, the stuff that they're learning, and also their peers around them. So I'll have more information about this in Blackboard, but I do want to let them know that this is going to count towards their grade. Each data day is going to have a little in-class assignment that they have to complete, and each of those assignments is worth 20 points. And so far I have 3 data days scheduled. I don't foresee myself being able to schedule more, so I'll probably just stick with these. But there might be other times where we do small, micro sort of in-class activities, and that's going to count towards something else. But data days are 6.9% of the course grade. There are 3 and 20 points each, but if you do the math, 3 times 20 is 60. However, at the end of the semester, I'm going to be counting it out of 55. That way, they can earn up to 5 points extra credit by engaging in the data days. I'm also going to be counting participation towards their grade, namely 45 points, which is about 5.6% of the course grade. And I know these percentages are kind of wonky, but you'll see why. It has to do with the exams. But participation is going to be ways for opportunities for the students to engage on in-class items as well as outside of class items. So maybe I'll post a discussion thread, have them review an article, and give them a prompt about it. Maybe we'll participate in some Kahoots during our review sessions. Maybe I'll ask that they attend, one tutoring session at our free tutoring center. So, I want them to be engaging with the material, and this is kind of an incentive for them to do so. So, in and out of class engagement opportunities, get the most out of this course, and that's the whole idea. All right. I want them to be thinking about this course both inside and outside of classes. So, roughly 6% of the course grade. And last but not least, I tried to blend these two in as best as I could. So the best I could do was just make them the same color, but the majority of the pie is going to come from exams. So 600 points contribute towards the overall grade, which is 75% of the course grade. There are going to be 4 unit exams that I give throughout the semester, a final exam, which is cumulative, and then I'm including some hard rules about the exam policy, and there's more information in the syllabus itself. So I'm going to point them to that as well as we're going through this. But all the exams are completed in person. Some exams might have a non-calculator section, and you might want to let your students know that if exams will have a non-calculator section, that you'll give them advance notice. That tends to reduce the anxiety. You might also want to construct some review guides that you guys can work on in class. And I would recommend making your review guides resemble somewhat your actual exams. That helps to reduce anxiety as well. And, when the anxiety is at a comfortable level, you tend to, wash out any of those like behavior issues that you get, students trying to cheat, students making up excuses as to why they can't come to the exam. So, you want to have them feeling comfortable, but you also want to challenge them and set them to a certain standard so that they not only succeed in this course, but in future courses as well. Okay, so I'll let them know that all of the dates are going to be available on our Blackboard site, and just me kind of clowning. I don't know about you, but I saw Pac-Man as soon as I made this pie graph, so I had to do a shout out there. Oh, yeah. So here's more of me clowning around. So I'm going to pause and say now would be a great time to tell you about why you should be using a VPN. Okay, because there are lots of people out there, lots of hackers that want to steal your identification, your social security number. And then I'll just pause and say, just kidding. And the whole motivation behind doing this is just to kind of chop it up, keep the air light, all right? And just kind of get them loose a little bit. And what inspired this was there was a summer I was watching a lot of YouTube, and I did not have the premium, so it felt like every 5 seconds I was getting commercials, and a lot of them were just about VPNs, and so I decided to just do a spoof on it. You also want to let them know how the grade is calculated, so you have a slide dedicated to how their grade is made up, but you also want to show them how you calculate their grade. And mine's just a really simple, simple division problem. Okay, so I have a table here with all the different types of assessments, ways in which they can earn points, and then I have just randomly assigned point values to each of these classes here. And I did 108 out of 100 just to illustrate them earning extra credit. They have an opportunity to do that. They can also earn extra credit by doing the data days. Let's say they max out points on participation, earn 325 points out of 400 on the 4 unit exams, and let's say 150 out of 200 for the final exam. So I just let them know that I take all their points earned, as well as any points earned from additional bonus point opportunities. I just add it all together, and then I divide that total by 800. All right, so if, let's say, Chuck Norris earned 685 points at the end of the semester, well, right before I plug their grade into our grading system, I take, 685 divided by 800, and I round it to the nearest percent, conventional rounding methods. I do not round a 30% to a 90%, I'll let you know. And in our grading scale, that would convert to a 3.3 grade point. And I tell them, I refer them to the grading scale in our syllabus if they're interested in what other percentages correspond to any of the other grade points. So let them know how their grade is calculated at the end of the semester. They will want to know, you know, if crap hits the fan, and let's say that it's on a test day or a due date for a problem set, they are going to be, concerned about what happens in that case. So here's kind of the cliff notes on my makeup policy, which there's more details about this policy in my syllabus that they'll be getting. But my first policy is towards problem sets. They are going to be granted 2 late passes, which they can activate in the MyOpenMath platform. And I felt that this is generous enough, okay, since there are 9 problem set collections. 2 seems a fair value. They're going to redeem that in the problem set, and the late pass information has more details in the syllabus. When they utilize the late pass, the extension is good for 48 hours past the original due date. And I am going to let them know that this is the most amount of late passes that they get in the semester. So use them wisely, and let them know that they have to stay on top of the material. They don't want to let that slide. So fair but firm. Exams are more of a sensitive issue, of course. I am willing to grant a makeup exam, but only in the case of extreme emergency. So, for example, and heaven forbid, hospitalization. I do not give a makeup final exam unless there's an extremely extenuating circumstance. So, because the final exam has to be completed for credit, and my work requires that we put in our final grades literally like a couple days after the final is taken. So there's not a huge turnaround time for that. So you want to let them know about that. Okay. I do require documentation in cases of extreme emergency. So a doctor's note or police report, some sort of documentation that is official, and they can get to you like a physical copy with a signature, things like that. All right. They will try to come up with fake stuff. All right. So make sure you utilize your best judgment on those things. So there is this particular protocol that I ask that students follow, which is outlined in the syllabus. So hopefully that's an incentive for them to check out the syllabus. Okay. But anytime they're in kind of like a pickle, one of the first things I do is I just ask that they check out the late and makeup policy, and then we go from there. And yeah. As for everything else, I'm going to be handling that on an individual basis. So let's say somebody is not able to attend a day-to-day due to having some appointment. Then I'm just going to ask that they reach out to me as soon as possible, and I can make arrangements for them to complete that assignment so that they don't fall behind. I kind of keep it, concrete, but not so locked in that, you seem like an asshole. So just exercise some flexibility is what I recommend, but also make sure that you're not going against your department policy or policies at the college that you're teaching at. All right. So, here's an area where you want to exercise judgment, and, I would be a little bit firm with this. All right. Because students do try to get out of these things, and I've seen a variety of excuses. Okay. So after a while, you begin to pick up on what's BS and what's not. So then I'm going to have a slide for questions. One of my favorite episodes of SpongeBob right there is Mayonnaise and Instrument. And after all questions are answered, I ask them a question. I go, are you guys ready to rock and roll? And this is one of my all-time favorite memes here. You guys ready to rock and roll? Lead singers at a concert and dads after paying the bill at a restaurant. And this is a great example of an intersection with the Venn diagram. So you could even throw that in. So I'm going to share that with them. And I'm also going to share with them some of my biggest rock influences, just to share a little bit about myself. So we got Jerry Cantrell, Dimebag Darrell. We got Sammy Hagar. We have the lady from Heart, Danny Carey. And of course, I would say the best rock guitarist in all of history, Eddie Van Halen. And that is where the slideshow ends. So I know this was a little bit lengthy, but compared to the 13 to 15 page syllabus, trust me, it does save me some time. So maybe this is something you might consider doing in your course. If you want some help with it, just let me know. I'd be happy to help out. If you want me to send this to you, I can send that to you as well. But thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Hope you enjoyed it and got a lot of information out of it. It also gave me a chance to do a trial run of this PowerPoint. So let me know if you have any questions or feedback in the comments below. Otherwise, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe and all that jazz. And I will see you next time, StatCats. Let's keep bossing up. Shout out to you.